Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. We are the nerds. I'm Cage. That is Chair over there.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Uh. Um, yeah, we're back on another Sunday because we didn't podcast during the week. But that's okay. We're here today to talk about things.
Things. Yep. X-Men.
Yep,
One episode of the Bad Batch, I believe.
there's two. There's-
Oh,
Did you only watch like one of them?
I think I only watched one. Yeah, too. But I got a little confused because so the one I finished on was when they were meditating on the ocean and it was practicing a little bit of mindfulness
Uh huh.
for Crosshair. Do you remember that? Was that one of the ones I was supposed to watch? But I think I could have
Yeah.
sworn I was one episode ahead of you. I think. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. So there's that one, and then there's the next one. So you watched the one with Fennec Shand?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one after that too.
Okay. I didn't watch that one.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that one next time.
Yeah.
Um,
We can talk about the episode of Phoenix Shan though. That was pretty cool.
yeah. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the new X-Men 97 episode.
Yep.
Did you see also Marvel's releasing a new like Overwatch
Game.
style video game?
Yeah, it looked very cheap. It looked very low quality, so I'm not really sure if I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
was
I,
trying to like,
I think they're launching the alpha like next month or something, or
mm,
I don't know. But it's yeah, the movements look really slow to me.
yeah, and the animation looks really boring.
Yeah,
Um,
but it could still be
and
good. You never
yeah,
know.
yeah, you never,
Um,
you that is true. You never really do know, but I just it doesn't really look like a game I would be interested in personally. Is all I gotta say.
yeah,
Um,
you don't really
because it's
play
just
like those
No, I
kinds
do.
of
I
games,
do.
do you?
I played Overwatch. I played Overwatch 1 for a good 2 years. Like I actually joined a little tiny little baby competitive Overwatch team for
Hmm.
about a few months, and we actually did really good. We got our ratings really high, but then the team kind of just fell apart. Because the Overwatch League didn't really take off, and it kind of demotivated us to really like play. Because we thought the league was gonna be like the next big thing, and now look at the league now.
Yeah,
So we didn't go into Overwatch because not a lot of us really saw the biggest future in it. Unfortunately, it's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. With that being said, though, I really did enjoy Overwatch as a team shooter. When it first came out, Team Fortress 2, like I like all kinds of video games. Obviously I play my average rotation of games, which is usually like World of Warcraft and Star Wars Galaxies, um, and some strategy games and a lot of RPGs. But I do like competitive shooters too. I do really like competitive games. I do a lot of multiplayer games. So yeah.
yeah,
Um, but I saw it and the reason it doesn't appeal to me is because it kind of looks like mobile, like it looks like a mobile game but on the computer. That's all I can really say. It just doesn't look very up quality. I'm not interested in playing like another just flavor of the month because the only time I played a game like that was when Gundam, the Gundam series, like with the robots and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, they had their own little shooter like that
yeah,
they
yeah. I
released.
remember that.
Yeah, and it flopped. Unfortunately, it died. So I'm not interested in playing the game like that, to be honest. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's something that for some reason Marvel has always kind of struggled with is like
Mm,
their video game animations.
yeah.
And I don't know why. Like they've always gone with like kind of like a more cartoony style animation.
Yeah.
They did better with like the Avengers game they put out. And I probably the Guardians of the Galaxy game as well. But like a lot of like the other ones are just like I wasn't a fan of the animation style. But
Yeah. The only one I really want to play is Midnight Suns. I heard a lot about that game, so I wanted to check
yeah,
it
I
out.
heard it's like kind of like a card game though. Like a
It's isn't it like the top down one where you're like controlling the squad of guys or something like that? I thought that's what it was.
I don't know. I didn't play it. I liked Ultimate Alliance when that was a thing, but then they
Mm,
put out one for the Switch, and I didn't like the art style that much on that either.
mm.
Like I don't know, it's just like the old ones were good, and then the yeah I don't know like and the Switch is like it's not a system you really put games out because you would want high graphic quality or
Yeah.
so.
It's
I
yeah,
mean
it's definitely not the most hardcore type of the hardcore type of dock for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Let's be honest, like, bro, my iPhone has better graphics than the Nintendo Switch. Like, it's just kind of how it is. Like,
Yeah.
most Switch games, they just have like a JPEG of a background in the back. Like,
Yeah.
So. But it's all right. It is what it is. Also, I am going to be starting a second job soon. I got a
Cool.
conditional job offer.
Nice.
So, it's through the city, so I have to do all this other random stuff, and it takes a long time apparently, like 30 days minimum, and it could take longer.
Sure. At the shelter I volunteer at, they're looking for more kennel attendants. I don't think I can handle that job personally because it's very stressful right now. And I just don't know if I could stomach some of the more intense parts of it. But they do they do talk about a lot how the hiring process takes a couple months almost, and you just said 30 days, so that's a month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus the time. Well, like for them, right? The hiring process is the time from application to like starting, right? Because I applied probably 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then it took a couple weeks to get a response. And then they're like, all right, we'll forward it to these people, and they're like, all right, you've been picked for an interview, but these are like the conditions, like pretty much like this is kind of how the job will be, like the hours and the this and that. And so like if that doesn't work for you, don't go through. But if it does, then go tell us. And then I was like, okay, yeah, that works for me. And then they forwarded it, and then like I waited like a week and a half, and they're like, okay, schedule your interview on this website. And then I scheduled it, and it was for like another week after that. And so it's a long process. So it's probably like 2 months process, because my interview was last week on Wednesday, and then they sent me the conditional job offer. Oh no, it was on Tuesday, I think. They sent me the conditional job offer on Thursday. But I have to like do like this like fingerprinting like background thing, which they said takes a long time. I have to do a physical for them. So I have to get that scheduled. So like he said, it's pretty much like a longer process. So depending on how long it takes, we're gonna go see the Phantom Menace, as it's re-released in theaters. I might have to refund that.
Sir.
I don't know yet.
Oh.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Because if I do start like that weekend or something, I'll be working the weekends. I'll be working like holidays and like other stuff. So
Yeah, I understand. So
yeah, but I think it's the movie is released for more than just like that weekend. So like I can find another time that probably works, but or like later that day, who knows? Like I don't know what hours I'm gonna be working. I don't know what the dress code is. I don't know if they supply a uniform or if they get one or any of that shit. So all I know right now is I will be hired making more or less minimum wage, and that's okay because it's just a second job to make some extra money so that we can pay bills.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah,
fun. Sometimes also maybe fund some of your interest when you feel like going out in the blue moon and doing something interesting, have some more gas in the tank. That kind of stuff's important.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'll be fun. I'll make sure like everything's aligned outside of that. I don't know like I said what hours I'll be working. Like they said it's like 8 to 15 hours a week. And I'm assuming if I have to work weekends, like it'll mostly all be on the weekends. But they also said like some like evenings, nights, so they might just schedule like 4 hours here, 4 hours there, 4 hours there, right, kind of thing. So we'll see, and I'll follow up with you for like scheduling for this, and then like whatever else we have going on. So but yeah, okay. All right, what do you want to talk about first? The Bad Batch?
Let's talk about X-Men, probably.
Okay, so X-Men 97 episode 3. This was a very good episode. This is
very good.
This is spoilers ahead, by the way. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled, you can bippity bop bounce out here if you want. But yeah, episode 3 was really good. I can get a synopsis or something, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, it's more or less they tried to do Inferno all in this 20-minute episode.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a lot going on for sure. So it was really good, but man, it was pretty crazy. Like the amount of like just stuff that was happening all at the
yeah,
same time.
yeah, it definitely was, but at the same time, like it's just like they are still doing what I think makes most things like this successful, and what makes X-Men successful is like
Mm,
they're still kind of telling these human stories.
mm,
Like even though like there's all these like superheroes and shit, and like all these other like extraterrestrial things happening, like
mm.
it's still like people can relate to certain elements of this, right? Like especially, people could probably relate to Scott with his son having to like be taken away from him, kind of thing, and like different things like that,
Yeah,
right? So,
very intense.
um, but yeah, the episode really focuses on obviously, um, Jean coming back, and like nobody knows who the real Jean is. The episode is called Fire Made Flesh. And it reintroduces Mr. Sinister here. Mr. Sinister was a big villain in the 90s cartoon, also from late 80s comics. He was introduced, and
Mm.
he's like an 1800s Victorian geneticist, and that's like how got his
He
powers.
tried to melt a baby.
he,
He's pretty fucking evil, dude.
yeah, yep, and he's the one who ended up cloning Jean Grey. And obviously, Jean's clone calls herself Madeline Pryor, aka the Goblin Queen. Um,
Mm.
and her backstory is much more convoluted, I'd say. And well, I don't know what it's more convoluted in. It's kind of like it's different than in comics, but it's not super different. Like here, we don't know when the switch was made. Like if you watch the '90s cartoon, like for a certain amount of time, like Jean was a captive of Mister Sinister, but you don't
Mm.
know like if that's when the swap was made or when all this stuff happened, right? And even in
Yeah.
this episode, it doesn't necessarily make it clear when the swap was happened. Whereas in comics, um, it was believed that Jean Grey was dead after she became the Phoenix, in the resolution of that story, and so Scott remarried, and he married on purpose someone different, and he knew it wasn't Jean, and he had a baby with her, and then Jean came back, and then there was all this other stuff, and
Drama, drama,
yeah,
lots of drama.
drama. So, but
It
here
seems to be
it's
like a lot of drama in the X-Men.
yeah, definitely. I mean, but even here, right? Like there's still drama, but it's like it's more focused, I'd say, or more interesting, I guess, because like now you have Scott, not like he has to, he's internally dealing with all these factors. Like he's been with this person he thought was Jean the whole time, thought he was like starting a family with her this whole time, and then it's not even her. And, it's kind of like, that's got to be really hard for him.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. And
um,
hard for her too.
yeah, but then like obviously he can't just like he doesn't know which one is the real one or not until Beast kind of confirms it. But um, then Jean, she not Jean, but Madeline Pryor, Mr. Sinister is like talking to her, and he's like, "Ha, I created you, ha 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 ha, I own you."
I'm evil.
Yeah, and then we get like this very horror kind of thing, very horror inspired. It's really Inferno. It's Inferno from comics. They're just doing Inferno. So essentially, she
Yeah.
turns the
Into a
manor.
really hot babe. She turns into a really
Well,
hot chick. That's the most
yeah,
important part. You forgot.
yeah, that happens. Yes.
Everyone, all the rogue stand, shut the fuck up. That's exactly what happens immediately as soon as that happens, bro. She's wearing like a really low fitting, like tight corset and like she's got the bodysuit on like with the freaking leotard and everything, bro. Like the high boots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's kind of they did it a little more. They covered up a little more than they would if it was a comic book, and we can have that discussion because it's a discussion that's out there and it's been out there for a long time of like the way women appear in comics and it's misogynistic because of XYZ and like it's not that I disagree with that. It's just that like people have to also realize that like comic books are a market and they're selling that to people who want to see that. And that's not like reality, but that I like it doesn't make any sense. Like okay, so Madeline Pryor, like she was also like for some time a member of the Hellfire Club along with Emma Frost and some other characters, and it's like they all wore that, the capes, the bustier, like fucking corset, just literally like panties, high boots, like doesn't make any sense. They're never gonna like nobody would ever be able to fight in that. Like it's obviously just because men are reading these things and men are creating these things and it's like a fantasy, right? And yes, we're sexualizing these people in comic books and like I get that, right?
Yeah.
Like I get it, and there's a place for that conversation. We're not gonna have that conversation, but yeah, they do, they do make you want to, fall in love with,
babes.
Yeah. So
They are babes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts or any ways around it, man.
yeah. So yeah,
And a lot of comic book girls are babes.
the
Like
Goblin
freaking Psylocke,
Queen,
dude.
she
Oh
goes
man,
Psylocke.
Psylocke is a babe.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of very attractively drawn women in comic books, okay?
Comic books. Yeah.
And it's because men
It was made for the male
breed
gaze, and
them, yeah.
they put hot babe. It's like Lady Death and like Red Sonja. They just put a hot babe on the cover, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna buy this. I have met a lot of
Yes.
women that say they like the babes too. So there's not that's like not a 1-to-1, but it's definitely not like
Oh yeah.
obviously
I mean,
it's not the most
Barbarella
rare.
as well,
Yeah.
Um there are some more tastefully drawn women in comic books, but then they're far outweighed by because if you think of like Harley Quinn, like she's always been like more like covered, but then you like read in the same comic books like Poison Ivy and Catwoman and
Yeah.
like it's just it's the nature of the beast and it's things have changed a bit but not overly
Mm.
and I think it's okay like when you have like full grown adult drawn women like that are like I guess the other part of that conversation again I don't really want to have this conversation but the other part of that
Well, we don't have
conversation is
to.
like as characters like if when characters become more like sexual or like self empowered kind of thing like they become like more scantily clad and they're viewed more as like uh sluts or something whereas like if you're a good guy character like if you're just Jean Grey like you're loving and your soul is pure and you're more covered up and there's all those kind of conversations right like I don't know there's a place for them but yeah so Madeline Pryor turns the X-Men
Well, obviously they're with
mansion.
the freaking con. Like half the booths were just like artworks of babes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Madeline Pryor turns the X-Men mansion into Inferno, pretty much into the Inferno, and like there's all
Yep.
these like goblin monsters and shit, and like Jean has to reconnect with herself by focusing on Logan's mind, and she's like, oh my god, you're like so in love with me. And he's like, yeah. And then that helps her refocus and then she what does she do anything there or is it not till like I don't remember. Anyway, so she essentially goes to Mr. Sinister and then Magneto when everybody else pursues and then they have a
For some
big
reason, Wolverine stays behind with the other Jean Grey.
yeah
I don't know why.
because he loves her.
But Yeah, he does. And yeah, that was a pretty cool scene where they were like when Jean Grey was doing Phoenix or whatever was talking to Wolverine. I thought that whole scene was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, also like, I thought it was really funny like that Magneto and Rogue just have the Danger Room booked like perpetually,
Yeah, so they could
and
have sex in there or
I
whatever.
don't think they're training in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be getting a little sweaty.
Gambit's not a fan of that, obviously,
Right.
but Morphin
Yeah.
and Wolverine have a good laugh about it.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
there's another thing I want to talk about. Everyone was saying like, I guess like,
oh,
what are they saying the Wolverine is gay? And I'm like, what? And then I watched
uh,
this scene because or like the Wolf and Wolverine are gay for each other or whatever, and it's like freaking, then Morph walks in and he's like, so like Wolverine
Wolverine's
tells
in the
like Morph.
shower.
Yeah, no. Morph tells Wolverine to go take a freaking shower because he's like, they're all sweaty after working out, and he's gonna go check on the other Jean Grey because like, like he said, he loves her. He's like, whatever. So he leaves, and then like, Morph goes to the shower and he sees what he presumes to be Wolverine in there, and he's like, hey, can I scratch your back? And he like pulls out his freaking like, a claw, and I don't know, man. I thought that was just
There's nothing
and
in
talking.
it.
No, there's nothing in it at
Okay.
all. It's a
So
huge nothing burger.
for people who didn't watch the '90s cartoon, Morph was believed to be dead after the very first episode in the original animated series because they went on this mission and they left him behind, which Wolverine really didn't want to, but Cyclops is the leader, and Cyclops, told him we had to get out. So he was believed to be dead, and we later find out he was being like tortured by Mr. Sinister for years, which is why like he transformed into like his actual like human version with like the big, bags under his eyes and shit, because he knows what it's like to be experimented on by Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
And so Wolverine, like he's always cared about Morph. Like they've always been like good friends, and like he felt like they abandoned Morph, and he felt responsible for that, and like so, they've always had that kind of relationship, and it's never like people just don't know what a healthy male relationship looks like, and so anytime
Exactly.
two men are like friends,
shower,
they're
like,
like, oh,
and
they
also
yeah.
they're in like the shower together and stuff like that. Like they
But that
men
was
say
like
weird stuff.
that
Men
was
say
just
weird stuff to each other in the showers. Yeah, I was gonna say like there's a lot of homoerotic conversations that happen on the right.
yeah, but that wasn't even real. That was
No.
literally like planted. That was like Madeline Pryor was like fucking with everybody's heads
Yeah,
like at the
exactly.
time. Like it wasn't like a real experience, It's like
Yeah.
she was bringing people's like worst nightmares to life, which is why like Gambit saw like Rogue and Magneto morphing into one, like all melted together and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
which was honestly kind of disgusting, but
Yeah. No, there was a lot of gross stuff in this episode. A lot of body horror shit.
yeah.
But nothing was like like I don't know. Like to me, it sounded like Morph like walked in there and saw his buddy in the shower. Was like basically just tried to slap his ass with a towel. Like it's just what. So I don't know why people are freaking out over that. Like Wolverine probably would have said, if you try to scratch me, I'll scratch something else off.
Yeah.
Implying like scratch like just cut Morph's dicks off or whatever. But I don't know. That didn't happen because they didn't have a conversation. So
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, they end up going to like Mr. Sinister's like hideaway place, and Mr. Sinister forces Madeline Pryor to bring Nathan with her when she goes, and he then he essentially is trying to make him immortal or something. He gives him a technovirus, more or less a technovirus, and in comics it's Apocalypse who gives him the technovirus, so a little different, but it doesn't matter. So Mr. Sinister gives Cable essentially a technovirus, and then Madeline is like fighting the X-Men, which is really cool because Morph turns into Magic, and Magic is a really cool character, Ilyana Rasputin.
Yep.
She is the sister of Colossus, and she's really cool. She has a lot of cool powers. But yeah, they're fighting, and then Wolverine helps Jean to focus, and she ends up doing like this mind battle thing with Madeline Pryor, to like kind of like understand,
Help her chill out.
yeah, and destroy the power that Mr. Sinister has over her. So the X-Men end up winning today, saving Nathan, and bringing him back, and like Bishop is like, all right, I'm ready to go back to the future now, and we probably have a cure for whatever is going on that's going to kill your son, so I'm going to take him. And like that's really hard for Cyclops because he was also abandoned as a child,
Mm.
and he didn't know his dad.
Yeah, I thought that was really dumb. Like when you screamed to like the X-Men, "Do you guys know what it's like to be
Yeah,
abandoned?"
because
Like,
every single one
yeah,
does.
every one of them was abandoned. Yeah, I was like, that's a really weird
Because
line to pick.
they also did the flashback of Jean growing up, right?
Jean Grey
When
being abandoned by her family.
yeah,
It's
and
just,
and you know what's funny is she's holding a little doll with one eye, a little Cyclops.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
cute stuff,
Cyclops.
cute stuff. They work into it.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I still think it is really funny. Like, like freaking, don't any of you know what it's like to be abandoned? I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's even funnier is like he actually met his dad. He didn't know it's his dad. But I
Yeah.
think I'm pretty sure his dad knew that he was his son, if I remember correctly. His dad's like the leader of the Starjammers, and he believed that his son was dead. So anyway, yeah. So all that stuff happens, and then Bishop takes Nathan to go get him cured in the future, kind of thing. And then at the very, very end of the episode, Storm is like in some bar, and a guy comes up to her, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna help you get your powers back. Name's Forge." And Forge was also in the '90s cartoon. Forge built the time machine that allowed Bishop to go back in time, in the first place. But this is probably a different version of Forge. Forge, for people who don't know, his comic book powers are like essentially he can look at any piece of technology and like have a full understanding of like its entire schematic, its layout, how it works, what makes it function, and like rebuild it.
Mm.
And in comics, he's partially responsible, if not fully responsible, for the weapons that do neutralize mutants' powers, like the one that took away Rogue's powers. So he may or may not be responsible for that. And so he's going to help her to get him back because he worked for the government in comics and he didn't fully understand like the purpose of what he was building. He was just like told to build it, and so he did.
You think they're gonna tie X-Men '97 into Deadpool since Cable might show up?
Don't know. I don't think Cable will show up because Cable was in Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. Yeah, you're right.
And I don't know if he's ever if they've said he's coming back for Deadpool 3, but
Yeah, Josh Brolin is usually pretty open when he's making stuff like that. So.
But yeah, I mean, they might get Josh Brolin to come back and do the voice if they. I mean, because he was in the '90s cartoon. Cable was for a couple episodes where he was trying to destroy Apocalypse, but yeah, I don't know if they'll bring him back at all in '97 or Deadpool 3, but it's possible. It's possible. I mean, it takes place in the '90s, so it's tough, right? Like this takes place in the '90s, and so how would you do that? I don't know. I don't know if this is even going to be like considered necessarily like canon in the MCU or if it's a one-off thing. I don't know. So, but yeah, it was a very good episode. I mean, all 3 episodes have been very good so far, and not just good for people who have watched and read X-Men before, but I think good for people who haven't. Like, it's just enjoyable stuff.
Yeah.
I also think it's good to see Cyclops get some justice. It's good to see him like actually like be cool and not like fucking lame as shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like this episode still just channels like that Saturday morning cartoon energy that everything else is kind of lost because there's a lot going on, but it's all also very simple. Like in its own way. Like oh, I'm evil now. I'm no longer evil because I was a clone, and Dr. Sinister says I'm evil, so I must be evil. No way you talk to me about my emotions, so now I'm not evil anymore.
Yeah.
Just good simple things, good wholesome simple things like that. And Magneto's, and I didn't know Magneto was such a big hunky daddy. Like, damn, dude, that guy's built like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He is built.
He's small, dude. He's like literally all upper body.
Yeah,
so, yeah. He's pretty yoked.
Yeah. So, I look forward to the remaining 7 episodes of this.
Mm.
Should be very good. All right. So the Bad Batch,
Bad
episode
Batch, one
8.
episode because I fell asleep before I could watch the other one because I'm lazy. And also, just want to point this out here that I'm in sounding like I'm in a really good mood today. I'm in a good mood because yesterday I went out and from 1 to 4, we had 4 dogs with us down at the Petco in Antioch, and we got 3 of them adopted. So
Nice.
yeah, that was pretty cool. But I also had to talk to a lot of strangers and try and basically sell dogs. So I was a little burnt out that day.
Well, I mean, what happened to the last dog? It just goes back to the shelter.
Yeah, it goes back to the shelter. We'll try again next weekend.
That's
I
sad.
want to be going. I want to be going every weekend. Yeah, it was a puppy too, so it felt really extra sad. But
Hmm.
puppies get adopted quick, and it was really cute, so I'm sure it'll get adopted quick. But
Yeah.
and it's sad for like other dogs. Like Cannoli, one of the dogs got adopted today. He's just a pit bull who was bred and then dumped on the side of the street. And it's like really, really, really makes it's kind of stuff that makes me just like lay up in the middle of the night and cry. Like they're just dumped on the side of the road when it's cold and it's rainy and they don't know where the
Yeah.
puppies are and they're just suffering and it's really sad.
We're just
But
people
she
who
got
are like
adopted.
don't think about it and are incredibly irresponsible, and they're like, I want a dog, and then they go get a dog, and they're like, I can't handle it, and they just
No,
bring it
no,
back.
and it's not. It's even worse. It's even worse than that. Cannoli was bred and then she was dumped on the
Well,
side of the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
road.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like
But I mean, in
there's
addition
that
to
that
that, right? Like,
that happens too. Like we get some returns. We try not to like hold people. Try not to be mean. Maybe it wasn't the right fit. Maybe there are dogs that aren't going to be able to get along. Maybe they don't like. Maybe the cat doesn't get along with it. And sometimes they take home other dogs. It's just like it's hard. Like it's shelter dogs are really stressed out, and it's just you got to put a
yeah.
lot. You got to put a lot of effort into them. Like this
Well,
lady
people need
that
to
took
think
home.
about that stuff, though. Like a lot of people don't
Yeah, they
even
do.
consider it. They just think about what they want, and then they end up like traumatizing a dog for no reason.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
that happens a bit with the fosters too, because like it
yeah,
seems like a temporary foster to them. That's why it's important to get dogs fostered in and out of different homes, and then finally to get locked into one home. So just
yeah,
adopt, and if you do adopt, and if you do decide to shop, don't let your shop turn into adopt. That's all I gotta say. Like that's the main thing. Is like when you buy a dog from a private breeder and then you end up giving it up to a public shelter. Like
yeah. Don't do that shit.
that's really irresponsible because those dogs are really high maintenance, man. And they go from like, their custom canned wet food to like, just the dry food we give to all the dogs at the shelter. That's like just the most easily digestible, like, thing as possible. It goes right through them. Just, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feed my
Anyway,
dog
though,
fresh food.
so last night I passed out because like I was up watching Free Run with our good buddy Rio. We've seen comment in the chat before. We're
Yeah,
watching Free Ren Beyond Journey's End, which is a really, really good anime. If you're a huge anime fan, I would recommend you go watch it because it is 28 episodes, just quality animation. Writing is great. Humor is very humor. It's got good humor. Characters have good, like, really good chemistry. And it's just really good fantasy. It's a little slow sometimes. I think some some people think it might find it a little slow, but I like that kind of stuff. So, uh, you know, um, but other than that, yeah, let's get on to Bad Batch, basically.
yeah. So episode 8, more or less. To me, this is just a filler episode, honestly. But it's
Yeah, like I think that's another problem with why I probably didn't watch the next episode is because like when you're watching filler episodes as an adult man, like you just end up falling asleep. Like
yeah,
maybe I should have been more responsible, watched it a bit earlier in the day. The problem is like I don't log in and watch Disney Plus on my gaming computer, because I want to when I'm watching episodes for the podcast, I want to be in my bed, like just staring straight at the TV, watching the full episode. And when some episodes like this one are just like, oh, we need to go to the planet and fight the bad guys and do the thing and get into the dramatic situation, and will they get out? Will they not get out? Of course they're fucking gonna get. You know, there's still
yeah,
like six more. There's still 6 or 7 more episodes left. So yeah, I was having troubles. I was having trouble saying
yeah. I
it.
mean,
Anyway,
the episode is more or less like we need information about why the Empire is interested in M count. We don't know what
yeah,
that is. Let's go talk to someone who might. Oh, it's Fennec Shand who was pursuing Omega for the Empire. Maybe she knows. Hey, Fennec, you're a bounty hunter. Why did they want you to do this? What did it tell us about M count? And she's like, well, I'm going to tell you, but first, you got to pay me. And the way you're going to pay me is you're going to go on a mission with me and help me get this one dude. And
yep.
then they do that. And then she's like, ha, I don't have the information, but I'll get it to you. And then she calls someone and she's like, "Hey, these clones are asking about M count. Bye." And that's like the whole episode.
Yeah, you're not
Um,
wrong. That's probably why I'm like, man, I should probably watch the next episode, but I'm literally so tired I cannot stay awake. So it's either I can waste a bunch of power and like, run up the electricity bill by leaving all my stuff on, or I could turn it all off and go to sleep.
yeah. Well, so the other thing in this
Did
episode,
all the interesting stuff happen in the next episode? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
that's what I'm telling you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Was there
So
Jedi?
do
Was
do
Jedi
you
involved?
do you have an idea in your mind what M count is?
It's midichlorian count.
Well, there you go. And so
Like, well, what the fuck? Like, of course, I'm not fucking stupid. Like, oh, we need their M count in their blood. Like, what the fucking else is they? It's Star Wars. What the fuck else are they gonna be testing for? I'm not dumb.
uh-huh. And so
I think they're gonna make clones of the Emperor, and they like mutate like clone like people's bodies that have like high midichlorian count. Here's what I think is gonna happen. I think they mutate people's bodies who have like high midichlorian counts, and then they turn them into like clones of the Emperor. That's what I think.
right, but why would a clone have a high M count?
Because it's related to the Emperor or a Jedi.
Well, no,
Or
why? Because Omega is the one with the high M count.
so she's like a clone Jedi or something like that. She's a clone of a Jedi.
Well, we don't know. I mean, she's the same clone as everyone else. She's just a female instead of a
Oh,
male.
you just cut out. How bad?
Oh.
You just cut out. There you go. Okay.
Okay. Well,
There you go.
Omega
You're back.
Omega is the same kind of clone as everyone else. She's just female instead of male. She's still a clone of Jango Fett.
Oh, then maybe she was injected with him. I don't know. Will they reveal that next episode? Is that what you're trying to say? Is like
No,
reveal why I
no,
think it's so
no.
special?
But what I'm saying is because Omega has a high M count, then someone else shows up and they're like, "Ah, you must train to be a Jedi."
Oh, Omega? Well, I guess you go with animals. That's usually like the first sign that I guess I could see that happening. So
Yeah, I mean that's not really what happens, but like more or less, like they explained, okay, M count is midichlorian count, and you know,
okay.
and
Yeah, I saw that coming
and
from a
they
mile
and
away.
they do the classic. Oh, so you're saying Omega's a Jedi? And they're like, no, you have to train to be a Jedi. You don't like, you're not just
Yeah,
a Jedi.
yeah.
Because you have a high M count, like,
Yep.
but yeah,
Well, she can do other things with a high M count. Like you said in that Darth Bane book. You remember you talked about a long time ago. Where it's like you just make shots that you just
yeah,
you don't know why you make them.
yeah,
You can do things that normally you couldn't. Other people just couldn't do. Like you kind of like the main character kind of stuff happens to you. When you're high in the midichlorian count when you're strong in the Force.
right. And I mean, and Omega just like her intuition, right, and her like even like her doing the meditation in this episode with Crosshair and stuff like that, right? Like
Yeah.
you can see like these elements of like Jedi nature within her, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody needs to be a Jedi. I think it's probably what. Or is that what you're stabbing out? Is like not everybody needs to be a Jedi all the time. Like,
Yeah,
once
I
they're
mean,
special.
and she's not going to be like more probably. Like even if she could potentially be, like, we all know, and even the character in the next episode knows, like she's not gonna leave the Bad Batch. She's not gonna leave Clone Force 99, like whatever. Like she won't leave them, so she won't be able to go away and do all this training to even try to become a Jedi, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's certainly explains why the Empire is interested in all that stuff, because it's not just cloning a person. It's if you're gonna make clones of the Emperor, you want to make sure that still has Force abilities. So
Yep.
yeah,
He's exceptional Force abilities.
exceptional.
He's very powerful.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it just feels like a filler episode. Like, okay, cool, we see Fennec Shand again. I have Mulan's voice, woohoo. But other than that, it's like, what else? What else really happened? Just like nothing happens. It's just oh, cool,
Yeah,
this,
nothing.
we'll
That's like
go
the problem.
do nothing.
Yeah, cool.
Like,
You know, you guys went to a swamp and you went around on the skiff and you got the guy and then you didn't get what you wanted though and
yeah,
I don't know.
bro, they just get railroaded all the time. It's just like they,
Yeah, they
it
do.
was like we're gonna do this thing for this person because they're gonna give us this, and then they just never get it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the next episode, I mean, is better, and it's better for certain reasons, which you'll have to find out for yourself when you watch it.
I'll watch it tonight and we can definitely talk about it next Thursday or Wednesday or wherever.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it next time. I don't know if there's anything else really to talk about, to be honest.
You
Um,
know,
there's no other
any
shows.
dramatic no dramatic news?
Not really. I mean, there's always like little bits of nerd news, but it's always so irrelevant to me. Like, I don't know. I find it hard to like put energy into caring about things that like so much news now is just like rumors or like so and so said
Yeah.
this, and it's like, bro, who fucking cares? Like, just like, I don't know, bro. I'm just trying to pay bills. Like,
Yep.
I don't have all the energy like to put into like really caring about like who may or may not show up in Deadpool 3. Like, bro, I'll go watch the movie when it comes out and I'll find out then. Like,
Yep.
I don't need to stress about this or like say this movie's gonna be great or bad because of XYZ. Like, just if something's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. I'll judge it when it comes out and I'll enjoy it or not. It's kind of what it
Yep.
is. I
That's a
know
good way to live.
it's a really boring answer, but like that's my answer to most things these days. Like, I just don't have the energy to care.
Yeah,
So
like I said, it's a really good way to live. Not being too worried about like all this culture, what's in the culture and stuff like that. Like it's good to keep up with what's coming out, what to expect because that's the kind of stuff that keeps you, living.
yeah,
Um, but the rest of it's yeah, the rest of it's like, the Hollywood drama is not fun to keep up with. I don't know why people want to keep up with that at all.
yeah. I mean, there's like some Star Trek news. Like, I think they're working on filming Star Trek 4, and then there's another Star Trek movie coming out with like Michelle Yeoh or something, and then I don't know. Pirates of the Caribbean is getting rebooted. If anyone cares about that.
Mm,
Um, Anthony Mackie did an interview and said some weird shit about how like there's only so many stories you could tell about comic books.
uh-huh.
Because you're limited by what's out there. I'm like, bro, there's like infinite comic book stories. I might be taken out of context. He might have just said like as far as his character, because there's not a whole lot with Sam Wilson as Captain America.
Mm,
But I mean, you can always make new things, like they
yeah,
do it all the
absolutely.
time. So,
Yep.
um, yeah. There's also I think it's out now. There's a Spider Verse short that's like on YouTube called The Spider Within. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I read about I heard I think I saw that on my Instagram news feed when I was scrolling. So maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. It'll probably just make me think about that Batman Beyond animation and how they're never gonna make it and how that makes me upset and hate this corporate hellscape we find ourselves in because two companies are unwilling to collaborate on what would obviously be a smash hit success and artistic thing of beauty. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. There's also the Penguin trailer came out. So the Penguin, which is a spinoff from the Batman with Robert Pattinson movie. There's a trailer for that. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, and House of the Dragon got a trailer or like two trailers, but I mean, it's like two shorts of trailers like focusing on the different factions or whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I think everybody's gearing up for like the next like the new stuff coming out after like, during the summer, after the summer, and things like that. Like nobody's actually like putting anything out right now aside from Disney. So there's not like a whole lot to talk about these days. It's just X-Men '97, which has been great, and The Bad Batch, which has been okay.
Yeah, even oop, yeah, you cut out a bit. Sorry. Now you're back. Now you're back. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it's been a little spotty today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I checked the movies lately, and I think I'm gonna try and see Godzilla and Kong this week, because like me, I just like the MonsterVerse movies. I like big giant things beating the crap out of each other. I love mecha. I love monster movies. That's just kind of my wheelhouse. I'll be sure to report back on how it is. Um, but I'm just trying to think of like there's not else much else in theaters right now that I really wanted to see. I think there was one movie I saw. It was called like Mr. Devil or something like that, about some dude who performs like like he's been making rich sacrifices to the devil to make his late night show like succeed. So
Is
I
it
don't
called
know.
like The Devil Inside or something?
Yeah, I actually like really. I watched the trailer and I actually thought it looked pretty good, to be honest with you. And I'm not usually a horror fan, but I just like loved like it seemed like really creative,
Yeah, I
And
think
I
I
like
saw
that.
like an article about it because the guy said like the late night host guy was like inspired by Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, that guy who plays him though. I like him a lot. I've seen him in a couple things.
Yeah,
He's a
he's
really
an
good
Ant Man,
actor.
right?
Yeah, or something like that. He's just good.
Oh, you can go see Kung Fu Panda 4.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'll wait till that comes out where I can watch it
Oh,
for free sometime
yeah.
for easily.
Late Night with the Devil.
Like I Late Night with the Devil. That's what I wanted to see. It actually looks really good, so I think I honestly may go see it.
Hmm. And then all the Spider-Man movies are coming back to theaters.
Yep. You gonna go see? Want to see any of those? I'll see one or two with you if you want to.
I don't know. Like, is it worth it? Like, which ones would be good? Is it just?
Well, you pick. I don't really. We go see Spider-Man 3 for the meme, and then bash it on the internet if you want to for some free subscriptions,
Oh,
free followers, something like that.
you want me to sit through Spider-Man 3 again?
Yeah, I want to sit there and I want to live record your reaction. Just watch you be disgusted. Look at those millions of views, Cage. Millions.
Are these? Oh, it's $5 to see it. It's only in theaters for one day.
What's Spider-Man 3?
All of them. So Spider-Man 3 is Monday the 29th of April. 6:30. $5. Jesus Christ. You really want to see Spider-Man 3? You know they're all coming back to theaters, right? Like even the Andrew Garfield ones
Yeah, I never
and
saw those.
and the
I
Tom
still haven't
Holland
seen
ones.
those.
Wait, you haven't seen the
I
Andrew
saw.
Garfield ones?
No, I haven't.
They're not bad.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't. Like, I like Andrew Garfield. He's pretty funny. I saw that gif of him freaking like going on to Hollywood and like being a dress up Spider-Man and like getting cash and stuff like that and like impressing people.
Yeah, and
I mean, every time
Emma
he got like,
Stone's in it.
you know,
She
that,
plays Gwen Stacy.
you know,
Everyone likes Gwen Stacy. I'm sure you've seen clips from those movies.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I see this, all the Stan Lee cameos when they were like fighting in the background. Stan Lee had his freaking headphones on.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we'll see one of those, or it looks like they all come out on Mondays for some reason. Like they're all one day only on Mondays.
Just let me know a week in advance so I can make sure I don't got anything going on, and I will
Yeah.
absolutely go out there with you.
On a random Monday. So. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. We wasted enough of everyone's time. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have thoughts and share those thoughts in some way, shape, or form. You
Yeah.
can follow everywhere. All the links are in the thingy, the description thingy. You can be like,
Mhm.
oh, how do I follow you on Instagram or Twitter or something and see what you post, because you never post. But hey, sometimes you can follow those things. You can like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. You can rate, review, subscribe on the podcasting platforms. Do all those things. We're live on Twitch once a week. You can follow so you can get notifications when we go live. And that's it. Bye bye. I haven't pushed the buttons yet. I'm pushing them now. Bye.